Well, good evening and welcome to Let's Talk. You guys are in for a special treat tonight. And I just saw in the chat that this is the best night, right? I call it Monday Fun Day, and we're going to be talking about some winner protein dinner or some winner chicken dinner, however you want to do that. But we're going to go live to our favorite Clar brothers, who's going to do some cooking for us. And they are in the California on the West Coast. I love that we can do this from wherever. And I see that you all are putting some chats in here from where you are from also. And so welcome, guys. I'm super excited. One of my favorite things is cooking. And actually not just cooking anything, but cooking healthy, right? Healthy for my family and doing those things. And I love your story of how you got started with doing these lean and green meals and where you guys are at now.
Yeah. So I guess it starts with me in 2016. That seems like an ancient, long time ago, right? But, in 2016, I was turning 50, or I was right around 50, and I had gained a few extra lbs. And I thought, my wife had jumped on this program called Optavia, and every morning I would hear her squeal from the other room when she stepped on the scale, because the scale was consistently going down. And at one point, I remember she went into the other room and she didn't squeal this night. And I, oh, you didn't lose any weight this time? She says, no, I'm just getting used to it. So she was excited about what was working, and it was just so easy and so repeatable. I thought, man, I got to jump on this thing. So I proceeded to lose about 30 pounds in just a couple of months. It was so fast and so easy. I was a firefighter for 35 years, and I was in an office job at that point, later in my career. And so I found out that I was just eating more and exercising less, and not a lot was changing, but I wasn't able to lose the weight that I had put on. So with this, with Optavia, I was able to do it in about 2 months, 30 pounds. So it was pretty fast, pretty dramatic. And then my brother saw it.
Yeah, Kev was the firstborn, so I tend to follow him in all things. And this is another one of those things that I followed him in. And he and his wife were doing this thing, and they were looking good, svelte, and, strutting around. And I thought, man, if those two knuckleheads can do it, I should at least give it a try. I had gone through a breakup, and I was kind of, I was getting back on the market. I had to get myself in shape again for all those lovely ladies out there. And I didn't know where to start. And so Kevin and Melanie introduced me to this program, and I started coaching about 6 months after they did. But at first, I was a single guy working in aerospace. I'd worked in aerospace for 30 years. I was an executive flying all over the world, and I was eating out a lot. So I didn't really know how to cook, and I was a little intimidated by the kitchen and cooking. So my brother, who's a fireman, all those firemen, they got to learn how to cook. He drugged me to the grocery store, and he introduced me to the rotisserie chicken and the flash frozen veggies, super simple, and a little salsa. And voila, the main recipe we're going to talk about today is chicken salsa surprise. Yes. Doesn't get any easier.
It's Ken's inaugural meal. He kind of puts himself out there as a smart guy, but he wasn't very smart in the kitchen. So we had to make it really dumb and really, really easy. And that's what we did. So we got the rotisserie chicken, and you've got your 4 or 5 ounce or 5 or 6 ounces of your chicken, whether it's a dark meat or a white meat. We're going to talk about that a little bit tonight. But then the veggies that go with it. And for him, the key was, how does he get something? He can't shop all the time. He doesn't have that kind of time. So we kind of worked towards this rotisserie chicken and the flash frozen veggies, made it kind of repeatable and easy, and something he could do really, really simple.
I love that. And someone had just put in here that today is rotisserie chicken day. So how convenient that we're doing rotisserie chicken for the National Day. Yeah, I know, right? And you know what I loved? Because, back in 2016, we didn't have the app. We didn't have the amazing lean and greens, even that you can find and do that with. And so that kind of where you guys started to start creating some easy grab and go meals that everyone could use, right? And made it convenient and easy, which I love with our system.
That's where Clar Brothers Bistro was born. Recipe so simple, even a dude can make it.
And
will-
that's on YouTube, correct?
That
Like,
is.
check them out. They're-
So you can search for it if they want. But like you said, today with the app and all the things that are at your fingertips, it made it a lot easier for us. We flash forward about 3 or 4 years, we were looking for some purpose. We started coaching, we were going into retirement. This allowed us to retire, but it also allowed us to continue to have purpose. So the show that we've created now, we're like 130 episodes in. It was part of that purpose, right?
And don't forget, bro, we got a cookbook out there too, Lean and Green Recipes, and it's our birthday tomorrow.
Yeah, so
I know that was another special treat too. And everyone says they have, a lot of people are saying in the chat, they have your cookbook. So
Nice.
that is super great too. And to make it even easier to hit your goals and do that. And I love what Optavia does. It starts awakening things inside of people. And then these things come about that you guys would have never had that purpose, like you were saying, had you not started helping others, you know, and really it started with your own family, you know, and as you keep doing that.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey. We've been all over the world. We've been to France cooking, and we've, all kinds of things, really, because of Optavia has allowed us the freedom and flexibility to, as we all say, we can do this from anywhere.
what do you think we show them how easy this recipe is?
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah. Let's get started.
Okay, so I'm going to lead off. What we got is a pot. This is known as a one pot wonder. Only requires one pot and then a dish of some sort that you want to eat it on. And you start with your veggies. So we went to the store today and got some flash frozen veggies. This happens to be cauliflower and broccoli. And the reason we call it chicken salsa surprise is because the veggie is the surprise. You never know what veggie is going to be in there. So you got to make sure. We want to get 1.5 cups of veggies. I like the non-leafy kind because they don't shrink down quite so much. But when you get the frozen ones, it can generate a little bit of water. So you want to be careful of that. Otherwise, it might be soupy. You might have to cook it for a little bit off of the stove.
So Amy can walk us through. So there's some in your Optavia guide that are not recommended during the weight loss phase, right, Amy?
Yes. We were talking about this too, and I just got off a whole bunch of client check-ins today. And so in your guide and in the app, you have a way to weigh out either frozen veggies, fresh veggies, canned veggies. So you can use that amazing scale just so that you know it's more accurate. And that's what my clients are finding. They're like, oh my goodness, I'm measuring this out instead of putting it in like a 1/2 cup or a whole cup. I'm using frozen vegetables, so I know what to use, like how to measure that out on the scale. And it's super easy. I just clear it out after I weigh my protein and I put my veggies on there. And she has been losing weight. Her name's Olivia. She's been losing weight like crazy.
Yeah.
And in a great fat burn. And
You're one of those people that feel like you're stuck and you're not, the scale's not moving, the inches aren't moving. This is probably part of the problem.
that's right. And that was really cool because in that measuring part, you can do frozen veggies, you can do any type of fresh veggies and things like that to make it even more fast and convenient when you're doing them.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the first part of the recipe. Second part and there's only 3 parts, so don't get too excited. The rotisserie chicken. You got to go to the store. These are usually on the baked good kind of prepped meal side of the grocery store, and they'll have a display of these freshly baked or freshly rotisseried chickens. And so
You don't need a bunch of condiments or anything on the chicken for like the seasoning. And of course, we're going to remove the skin. And then, of course, if you're going to use the breast, it's a slightly different measurement than if you're using the dark meat, the thighs and the legs. You just want to take that into account when you're doing it.
And then the final ingredient, paste picante sauce. Now, I like this salsa because if you look at the ingredients, the first ingredient is tomatoes. It doesn't get any simpler than that, right? And as you're reading ingredients, you'll realize that the first ingredients or first few ingredients is what the most is in that most. So you want to be careful for any added sugars or any of that kind of salt, like a lot of those kind of things. I like paste picante. I get the medium salsa because I like a little kick to my chicken salsa surprise. You can get hot if you really want it to burn your tongue off, or you can get mild.
Yeah.
Well, I love that tip about the first ingredient and knowing what's in your stuff. So tell me then, while we're doing this amazing, quick and easy lean and green, what would you count the salsa as? As a condiment or as part of your veggies?
I would typically count it as a condiment. And so you want to be a little careful, but it really is just fresh veggies. I mean, if you look at the ingredients, so I don't get too worked up about measuring it exactly.
And there's not a ton of volume because it's spread out over this whole, you'll see it in this whole saucepan.
Yeah.
And so when you serve it up, you're really just pulling out the chicken, and you can weigh it then if you want to do it after cooking. It's already cooked, but you can do it then. And then the same thing with the veggies. You can weigh those, you can tear it out. To your point, you can clear the scale and you can weigh out the veggies, and then you can go from that, and you just count it as part of that veggie count.
Okay, that's awesome. And on the 5-in-1 program, the fat burning program, the condiments, you get 3 a day. So if you use that salsa as your condiment, you could use up to 3 type of servings for that if you haven't used other condiments for that too.
Exactly.
To
Yeah.
spice it up even more.
It's a little bit of a foolproof recipe because there's not a lot to it. There's not a lot of ways to
Yeah.
screw it up.
Simple.
Well, we've talked about it a little bit. For those that don't weigh and measure, usually, at least what we found with our clients, is our men tend to have too much, too
Yeah.
big a portion size, and our ladies tend to have a little too little portion size. Either way, you think that the less you eat, the more weight you're going to lose, and that's not necessarily the case, right, Amy?
That's right. That's what we were talking about too. And we think, we've been trained actually to think that you eat less, you're going to lose more. But here with our system, it's so science-based that when we actually eat what we're supposed to eat with the lean and green, our fuelings and all of that, the macros are so good that you will lose weight on there. And you get 3 condiments. You get, optional snack. You get all those amazing things that you can add to these meals if you haven't used them yet.
Exactly. And usually by the time you get to that lean and green, you're ready for something kind of hard, a little heartier than what you've had throughout the day. If you've had the snacks and the bars and the shakes or whatever. And so I know for me, I look forward to that meal, even though it's a pretty simple meal and it's nothing extravagant. It's super yummy.
Yeah, I love that.
And if you're struggling with meal prep, you can always cook a couple of extra portions, depending on how many, you're sort of sharing this meal with, and you can put them in the fridge and have them for the next couple of days.
Yes, and so that's a good point with the rotisserie chicken. If you want to have the white meat one night, right? Because it's weighed out differently with the lean and green, and you want to have the dark meat the other night, then you weigh that out different and you have 2 meals for one.
Yeah, that's a good point. I know for him, he used to do that because he was in the office at an office job, right? So he would cook it one night and then take to work the next portion for the next day. And he would have that lean and green, because you can have the lean and green at any time during the day. So you just have it at a different time.
Yeah, I love that. I think when we first started, the structure of the eating 6 times a day with 5 fuelings and 1 weighed out lean and green took the decision fatigue out for me. And I didn't have to think, okay, what do I need to make that's healthy for my family and doing all those things. And I made lean and greens for our family, for our 3 kids at the time too. And I added in some healthy carbs for them, right? And so you make it super simple, like you guys are doing. So it fits everything into your lifestyle, not just you are doing something.
Kind of demystified the kitchen for me. And now I'm ready to branch out a little bit, but let me show you what we got going on. So before we got on camera, we started this because it takes about 20 minutes or so to cook up. And you can see, I don't know if you can see that, but
yep, they can see
it's a whole pot. It's got a little bit of liquid in the bottom, which you could cook with the lid off and burn off the liquid, but there's also broccoli and cauliflower in there. We got our salsa on top and the chicken. And so you just pull that out a little at a time, weigh it up, and Bob's your uncle.
It's ready to go.
Bob's your uncle. I haven't heard that one before. That's a good one.
If you listen to him at all, you'll hear it all the time.
I love that. I wish this is a part where I wish I could have like taste testing, like I could reach through there and just try that because it looks amazing. And I'm sure it smells amazing too, as you guys.
From here. Yeah, so let's go to the next slide and we'll show you the actual recipe that we kind of carved out. Obviously, we've talked a lot about it and it's not very complicated, but you can see, oh, well, we didn't talk about the cosplay, but yeah, that's good, Chris, to do that.
Oh, we're going to talk about the cosplay.
Okay. So my brother and I are identical twins, if you haven't figured that out, right? And so we stumbled into, during COVID, we stumbled into these themed dinners. We started doing these themed dinners, and that's what the screen is on the right. and then on the left, we actually found some people that go to Twinsburg, Ohio every year. 2,500 sets of twins show up there for Twins Day. And it's pretty amazing, but they have a costume party too. And so those are a couple of the costumes that we used. One was the Pirates, and the other one was, if you guys recognize it, Speed Racer and Racer X.
And don't be shy, buddy. We've won the costume contest in our age group 2 years in a row, so we're going back for a three-peat.
But we can't tell you what our costume is. We don't want to give it away. All right. Now we get to look at your recipe.
Yeah,
buddy.
so there's a couple of recipes here. The one on the right, the orange kind of rimmed one, that's the chicken salsa surprise. You might want to take a screenshot. Pretty simple stuff, but you know, if you can't remember how it was made. And then the other one is another simple on the left, very simple, rotisserie chicken and bag lettuce.
So you can see they got a chicken breast up the top there, and it actually looks like it has some skin on it. So you'd probably want to pull the skin off, but then the bag of salad, and then you got to be careful, right, Amy, with our salad dressings.
Yes, that's a big one, right? That's why it matters if you're having the dark meat or the white meat, because your healthy fat will determine what type of dressing you're using. And that's the cool part in your guidebook that you get. It has a list of different healthy fats for you.
Yeah, you might use an avocado. You might use a different kind of a dressing. I know we a lot of times will recommend the Bold House or the Walden Farms dressings because they tend to be a little lower in the calories and a little less fatty. So that's super helpful.
And don't forget the fork dippage. Don't pour that dressing all over your salad, slather your salad. Dip your old fork in there, get you some lettuce, and you get a taste with every bite.
Right.
No, I love that. And I hope you all had a chance to screenshot that in looking it up. But you know what's amazing too now that we're like in 2025, but you guys did not have this in 2016, but now there's this amazing app that you can track anything. You can look up anything. You can look at the different recipes. You could do a 15-minute recipe. And what I love, like you were saying about being single, you can do different servings. You could feed a family, or you could feed yourself, or you could make an extra serving for your next lean and green meal. And it makes it super simple in that app as you're doing those.
It gives you a grocery list and the instructions and the whole thing.
Yes.
It is super. It's a winner for sure. And it's something that a lot of our early clients struggled with, right? Because they didn't have this exhaustive list of recipes and stuff. So that, like you said, if you haven't checked that out, everybody, you need to go check that out.
Yeah,
sure.
One app to rule them all. And the next slide, Chris, is 3 different recipes. If you're ready to branch out, take charge of your cooking, you can try one of these. Again, screenshot this. You know, we're not going to go over each one of these recipes in depth, but these are recipes that we've had good luck with, and we enjoy, and we thought we'd share them with you.
Yeah, I love that. So there's a barbecue chicken with broccoli ranch salad. There's a grilled chicken with peanut sauce and a chicken Caesar wrap. And some of those you might be able to find on the app also. Now I see a question in the app about, or in the comments about, they saw cheese on one of the meals and they wanted to know if you count that as protein.
Well, it depends on the recipe. Sometimes it's a condiment and sometimes it's a protein, because cheese can kind of go either way. So it's hard to give a blanket answer. You do want to be a little careful with cheese. You know, we say cheese it up, but you can cheese it up too much. You want to be a little careful, right, Amy?
Yes, definitely. You know, part of fat burn is, in what we're going to learn next Monday too, how to stay into an amazing fat burn, is measuring things out, right? And doing what the recipe says. And the recipe usually tells you what it is counted towards, like how many condiments you're going to use to have that recipe. So if you've already used condiments throughout the day, you might need to pick a different recipe,
Right.
not use any extra condiments like the salsa or something like that.
The app is really good for that, right? Because it lays it out and it says it's your lean and your 3 greens and it's your condiment. It'll actually lay it out for you, so you
can change up the number of servings on each recipe, so you don't have to guess or do the math in your head. It'll do the math for you and give you the recipe.
Yes, and you know the best part is You are never alone on this journey. And this is also, if you have questions and you're like, I don't know, I'm confused by what they're saying, or I'm not even sure how to find that, you all have an amazing coach that can guide you to that app. And maybe you don't even have the app right now, and they can share that link for you and how to get an app through an iPhone or an Android or any of those things, because you have that amazing guide to help you with it too.
Yeah, it's a little bit like construction. Just dive in and follow the instructions and try to keep as close to it as you can, and you'll modify it as you go. Remember, this is a lifelong journey. We're doing a transformation of our lifestyle and everything, because if it's just for a short period of time, that's what it's going to be, just for a short period of time. We want to make this lifestyle change, which is going to have to mean that you incorporate this stuff for your life.
So you stay close to your coach, and you ready, fire, and then you aim. You calibrate with your coach. After you fired, you go, oh, I missed it a little bit off to the left. Okay, your coach will help you nudge you back to the center of the screen, and you try again.
You ready, fire, and aim. I love that. You just ready, fire, and
You
yeah,
never
I would use that. So tell me then, what was your go-to type of lean and green meal when you first started going? Was it rotisserie chicken?
This was it.
Well, yeah.
Sometimes it wasn't rotisserie chicken. Sometimes it was flash frozen chicken breast.
Okay.
It cooks the same
Well,
way.
and the challenge that he had is a lot of this stuff would go bad, right? So if he got fresh veggies, they only last for like a week. So if you get frozen veggies, they last longer. Same thing with the chicken breast. You can get boneless, skinless chicken breast. It's not a lot more cost, and you can decide how you're going to cook it, whether it's on the barbecue or in a skillet. And it makes it pretty simple, right, to do, because like I said, a lot of people get overwhelmed by the choices and all the different things.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that, because I don't know about you guys, but when we first started, I saved a lot of money from not throwing away bags of lettuces or vegetables that I didn't use because I had left them in the fridge and I was planning on cooking them up. But here, when we started, I was like, okay, I got what I needed. I made my lean and green, and I didn't throw any food away. And it was just savings in the beginning. We were shocked about all that.
Well, we did the math on this particular recipe. How much was it?
$6 a serving.
So, and that was at today's prices in the whole bill. I mean, we weren't looking for any deals or anything. So, I mean, man, you can't go anywhere to eat for $6 a person.
No, that's amazing. I'm so glad that and that's today's prices too. In 2016, it might have been totally maybe $2 by that time, right? Yeah, you definitely can see the costs or the savings that you're, from what you're doing when you're having a specific structure to win in your health, which makes it very easy and nice. And
you know what's in the pot. You know what's on your plate. You're not guessing. When you go out to a restaurant, you can do okay, but you're still guessing. You don't know how much sugar they've got in it, how much salt they've got in there, all that other stuff. This is a great way to control what's going into your body.
Yeah, you're practicing so that if you do go out, you know what the portion size looks like. It's probably not going to be accurate unless you whip your scale out, right? But you're practicing at home so that if you find yourself out somewhere doing something different, you have a good sense of what is correct.
And also there's that dining out guide that helps you make healthier choices as you're eating out. And again, another savings, right? Because you're not having appetizers, you're having your specific meal. You can pick pretty much any protein while you're eating out and doing those things. And then you get ideas that maybe you want to cook at home, and you can do that then too, and make it even healthier as you keep doing it.
We're running up against the clock here. We want to get a taste test. I know you can't.
Amy, you want to have some?
But
I wish I could.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like it's a good hit. So now we need to know if you guys all are going to have to make it and then come back and let your coaches know, how was this meal, and did the Clark brothers hit it out of the park or not?
Right.
As they were doing it. So I thank you for coming on. I love that you guys have created such an amazing product, to help people and guide people in their lean and greens, and then connect it with the app now too. And keep helping more and more people out there.
It's
Making
important to
things-
have fun in the kitchen. 'cause
And
if
it's important to have purpose.
Yeah.
We found ourselves getting closer to retirement and we needed something to transition to. So this has been super fun and a way to continue to help you. As a firefighter, helping people was kind of my second name, right? But helping people is super fun and super rewarding. So
Yeah, and now you get to help people and have a purpose in a different way. And listen, everyone's in here. They love you guys. They are loving you guys. I think we're gonna have you come back and do some more cooking demonstrations.
say the word.
So
I can't stop my brother from talking. What are you kidding me?
I know. And so, you know what we might have to do tonight's rotisserie chicken. I don't know. We're gonna have to look at another night and see what's cooking that night, right?
I think
you know
some of the people are here in the planning committee. They probably know what they're doing.
I should have led with the hey, good looking, what you got cooking.
Yeah, you
Right.
said.
Next
time.
we'll start off with that music for you guys. So-
Pretty one, and I'm the smart one.
Oh, the pretty one and the smart one. And we got a thumbs up on there too. So that's
But
awesome.
it's our pleasure to be here. You know, it's been really inspirational for us, not only health coaching other people, but then kind of demystifying the kitchen. So we're super happy to share it with our Optavia cousins.
And we appreciate the invite, Amy. It's been super fun.
I'm so glad you guys got to come. We'll have a wonderful birthday tomorrow. And you guys will be celebrating all week long. I know. So
The big 60. I know.
oh, the big wow. Yeah, you got to live it up. You got to make some great lean and greens. Maybe you'll add a new one to your list. as
Yeah,
well.
absolutely.
So
Thanks again.
yeah, good to
Our Brothers Bistro,
Here for your health.
Awesome. Well, tomorrow is the Conscious Forum with Dr. A. You guys, these are so amazing. They're all recorded and they're live that Dr. A does on every Tuesday. It's from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. And there's a link right there if you want to scan it with your phone. And there's the Zoom link right there too if you want to take a screenshot and you can hop on and it's pretty amazing. And if you've missed some of them in the past, they are recorded and they are on YouTube on there too. They're Dr. A's Conscious Forum. And that's every first Tuesday of the month from noon till 1 p.m. Eastern. And then next week on Let's Talk, we're going to dive into the science-backed fuel for fat burning, you guys. And this is the connection of what is important, why of weighing out this lean and green and having 3 condiments and making sure you're getting your healthy fats and all of those amazing things. So next Monday, you're going to learn about that and the things that could maybe throw you out of fat burn and the things that will keep you in fat burn. So have a good evening and we'll be seeing you next Monday for Let's Talk.